All right, today we're jumping into what is basically a scientific detective story. It's a fascinating tale about a huge breakthrough in cancer therapy, a really puzzling setback, and the incredible lessons we learn when things just don't go the way we expect.
So let's just get right to the heart of the mystery. Imagine this. You've got a cancer drug combo that's so good, so effective, it gets approved all over the world. It becomes the new go-to treatment. Then, scientists run a follow-up trial to confirm it works in a new part of the world. And the results come back, it falls flat. How on earth does that happen? Let's dig in.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the good news. Our story really kicks off with a massive win in the fight against one of the deadliest cancers out there. To really get why this all matters, you have to understand the sheer scale of the problem. Lung cancer is a monster. We're talking over 1 million new cases in China in 2022 alone. That's huge. So yeah, when a new treatment comes along that actually works, it's not just a tiny step forward, it's a potential game changer for millions of people. And that big leap? It came from a clinical trial called Empower 150. They tested this powerful cocktail of drugs, an immunotherapy, another drug, plus standard chemo. And the results, which came out in 2018, were just incredible. Patients were living significantly longer. The data was so solid that this combo became the new first-line treatment in the US, in Europe, pretty much everywhere. So this thing becomes the new gold standard for a very specific, but also very common type of advanced lung cancer. A true success story. Or so it seemed. Because this is where our story takes a very sharp turn.
And now we get to the next chapter. See, scientists wanted to be absolutely sure this miracle combo worked just as well for everyone, everywhere. So they launched a new study, this time zeroing in on patients in China. This new trial was called IMpower 151. The goal was super straightforward. Basically, copy and paste. Take the winning formula from the global trial and prove it works for patients in China, because there can be slight differences in genetics or even which chemo doctors prefer to use. It was supposed to be a slam dunk, just a rubber stamp saying, yep, works here too. But then the data came in, and yikes. Now, don't get lost in the numbers here. Just focus with me on that last column, the p-value. Think of it like a score. In science, you want that score to be really, really low, like below 0.05, to prove your drug actually works and it's not just some random fluke. Well, look at this one, 0.184. That's not low. It's way above the line. It basically means that, well, maybe there was a tiny benefit, but we can't say for sure that it wasn't just due to chance.
The researchers themselves didn't mince words. I mean, the study's own paper puts it this bluntly. After all that global success with the same core treatment, this new trial, well, it just didn't get the job done.
And this is the multi-million-dollar question, right? Same disease, same core immunotherapy drug. What on earth went wrong here? Okay, time to put on our detective hats and start digging through the clues. This is where the real sleuthing begins. The researchers did the only logical thing. They put the two trials, the success and the failure, side by side to figure out what was different.
Okay, so take a look at this. You can see a couple of differences right away. The chemo drugs were different. That's pretty normal, just reflecting local standards. But then you get to that bottom row, the genetics. And whoa, in the successful global trial, only about 14% of patients had something called an EGFR mutation in their tumor. In the Chinese trial, over half, a whopping 53%. That isn't a small variation. That is a massive, glaring difference.
I mean, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that huge blue slice for the China trial. We're not talking about slightly different groups of people. We are talking about two patient populations that were fundamentally different at a genetic level. And this, it turns out, was our smoking gun.
So why does this one little genetic thing, this EGFR mutation, make such a gigantic difference? Well, it all comes down to how the star player in this drug cocktail, the immunotherapy, actually does its job. See, this drug, atezolizumab, is really cool. It doesn't kill cancer cells directly. Instead, it's designed to take the brakes off your own immune system. to wake up your T cells and tell them to go fight. But here's the thing. For that to work, you need to have soldiers, the T cells, already near the battlefield. The drug needs an army to lead.
And this is exactly what the deeper analysis found. The tumors without that EGFR mutation, the ones common in the successful global trial, were what scientists call hot tumors. They were already inflamed and packed with immune cells, just waiting for the signal to attack. But the tumors with the EGFR mutation, the majority in the Chinese trial, they were cold. It was like a ghost town. Barely any immune cells to be found. Here's the best way to think about it. The immunotherapy drug is like a car key. In those hot tumors, you're sticking the key into a powerful V8 engine. You turn it and vroom, you get a huge response. But in those cold EGFR mutant tumors, you're using the exact same key, but you're putting it into a tiny lawnmower engine. The key still turns, you get a little sputter, but it's just not going to get the job done. Same key, totally different engine. This one genetic difference created a completely different battlefield.
So what does this all mean? Was the IMpower 151 trial just a big, expensive failure? No, not at all. Far from it. This is where you see the true beauty of the scientific process.
See, a negative trial isn't a failure if it teaches you something critical. IMpower 151 didn't show what scientists hoped it would, but it revealed something even more important, a deep understanding of who this drug works for and who it doesn't.
And that brings us to the big takeaways. First, genetics matter. A lot. A drug that's a home run in one population can totally strike out in another if their biology is different. Second, this just blows up the whole one-size-fits-all idea for cancer care. That is not the future. And most importantly, it shows why these so-called negative trials are absolutely essential. They're how we learn to stop giving a drug to patients who won't benefit and how we learn to pinpoint exactly who we should be treating. That right there, that's personalized medicine in action.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought to chew on. We've just seen how genetic differences, which can often vary with ancestry and geography, can completely flip the outcome of a drug trial. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we get better and better at tailoring medicine to our individual genetic code, how much will we also need to start tailoring it to where we and our ancestors are from?